Good evening. This is Dipankar Khasnubish again. We are having yet another episode on COVID cares from Heartcrafted Foundation. This foundation focuses on women in northeastern India, where essentially it helps them to get a better livelihood through increased income. It had been active for over few years now and seeing some results on the ground. This particular series, COVID Cares, is an attempt by the foundation to showcase some of the examples where very ordinary or not so exceptional or not so famous people took some extraordinary steps during the COVID times and the lockdown to help others. Some cases people have, we have heard stories like people have gone and given food, started community kitchen, provided transportation, healthcare, help people to be moved from one corner of the country to the other. We also heard stories of how individuals who run small organizations did not allow them to be closed, though there was enormous pressure from the financial market perspective. Protective jobs, did not cut salary, or even if they have been forced to reduce the compensation, they ensured that the employees are not affected in a long term. So we have heard many stories like that. And today we are going to hear one more from a gentleman whom I am a very personal fan, even otherwise, Tathagata
Thank
Niyogi.
you.
Now I'll come to Tathagata's personal profile very soon and get into a conversation with him. But Tathagata, in my mind, has done something extraordinary. When the COVID and the lockdown happened, people immediately gave a view that there are some industries which are, doomed for years. Airlines was one, tourism was the second, because even after the COVID, the scare and the contamination is gone, people will take time to really move around because that is not something which is a priority for them, which is in many ways we say discretionary spend. And we know that scores of organizations in this space, including the large airlines or large travel companies, abruptly shut down their operations, let scores of people go off their jobs, put them on, no salary basis with no hope of being taken back. But Tathagata, who runs an organization called Heritage Work Calcutta, took some extraordinary steps using the confluence of technology, market demand, and innovation to build a model which not only protected the business, it also helped the consumers like me to remain engaged and, of course, the employees to remain productive. So, Tathagata, welcome. It is a pleasure to have you. Let me just take a minute to
Thank you
introduce
very
you.
much.
So Tathagata, as I mentioned, is a co-founder and chief innovation leader of Heritage Walk Calcutta, which is an academic-run, research-oriented company that provides walking tours of Kolkata for locals and tourists to enable them to experience the city in a new way and connect with diverse local communities. Tathagata is an archaeologist trained in UK. Apart from his professional trainings in archaeology, he is extremely passionate about Kolkata's history and its rich cultural heritage. After completing his BA in first class in history from Jadavpur University, Tathagata did an MA in archaeology from University of Exeter, UK. He is also a PhD in archaeology at the University of Exeter. Tathagata has also led a heritage documentation project in West Bengal and was a member of International Council of Monuments and Sites from 2012 to 2016. Tathagata is, a co-founder of Heritage of Calcutta along with his wife, Chelsea McGill, who is a US citizen, but I understand she moved to Calcutta in 2011 to learn Bengali. Now, we'll hear from Tathagata, but let me tell you two things. One, which I mentioned, that I am a great admirer of him and his works which he provide. And second is, of course, the the very rare occasion where somebody who has gone abroad, and that includes, of course, his wife in a bigger way, who has decided to move to India, not just India, Calcutta, where most of the Indians like us probably will only dream of going out of the country. So Tathagata, you are special to me in many ways. Pretty dear, though we don't know each other, physically, but definitely I have been following you for a long time. Tathagata,
Thank you very
today's
much. Thank you.
discussion is about this COVID times. So when the COVID happened, you also had communicated many times on social media as about how this travel industry and some of the portions which is very similar to yours, which actually cater to a group of individuals in some sort of guided tours have closed down. People who have possibly been doing extremely well has been gone into other businesses completely unrelated, or trying to reach out desperately for something. And of course, these are people who are proprietors. So you can only imagine that their employees must have all been asked to go home. Now, when this happened, or lockdown happened, I'm sure, like many of your business contemporaries, you also faced, situation that what to do, because the obvious outlook is that, what can tourism do when everybody is at home? Now, how did your this thought of transforming the business completely inside out and take a new model? And I would like to hear about the model. Did it come out as part of that, or you have been already working on it, or you had already been anticipating that, there may be an opportunity, not just because of crisis, but even the way, the world moving. I'd like to hear from you. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. Yeah, I mean, I'll start from 2017 actually, because that's when we started the business. We left our academic jobs, Chelsea and I, and we moved back to Calcutta, and we decided to start this company. Now, when we started, we realized that there is a potential of doing, like providing experiences online. And we had seen several of them when we were abroad and all of that. So there's something that exists in an online platform where you can reach out to a lot of people, may it be through an app, may it be through some other kind of virtual reality. So when we started the business, basically one of our thoughts was to eventually have that online virtual platform. But we took several quotes from different companies who can code and make that platform happen. And the quotes we got back were like very high amounts. And since we were putting all our own money into the business, we did not want to invest in that. And we honestly didn't have the money to invest in that. But what we kept on doing is whenever we developed any experience, in our minds, we always wanted to one day convert that into a virtual experience as well. So whenever we were developing a walk or a trail or something, that was always going on in our mind, that how can we, if we do it someday, how can this become a virtual experience? So in that sense, I would say that we were thinking about it for 3 years before COVID. But COVID, and that's why COVID probably put us on like ahead of the curve a little bit. So it did take us, like it did surprise us. But probably because we were already thinking about that, we thought that we would rather take this as an opportunity rather than just as something catastrophic, and try to put our plans into action. And what helped with COVID is that that people suddenly became more aware of using Zoom. Zoom has been there for several years, but people suddenly became aware of using Zoom and all the other kinds of Google
Absolutely,
Meet
yeah.
and all the other kind of platforms. So we invested money in the right way by buying different things that we need to do to produce that virtual walk. And we pivoted virtual by June, so almost within a couple of months. And you have been there since the very beginning, so you know how we have progressed since then. So yeah, I mean, COVID was a surprise, but we personally, like both Chelsea and I and all our team members, took it as a challenge to do something, like get something positive out of that, rather than um, think catastrophically and think that all is lost. So yeah, that's what we did.
No, so essentially, you are saying that, as they say, fortune favors the brave, or if there is no preparation, then over prepared. So fundamentally, I understand that you have been thinking about it, essentially because of various advantages, which I'm sure you will also cover and many people intuitively understand. You also had been, sort of making the right investments, training the people, and the things came together because everybody, picked up this, the online platforms. I mean, it's sort of overnight we got, accustomed because most of us probably never use this, right? And especially for non-office purposes. But Tathagat, if I don't know this, but when the lockdown happened and when I see your trails now, you are using these videos of, the walkthroughs and all of that, which you always mention that you are going at the morning. So obviously, that could have been done only after the first 42 days of total lockdown was over. So there was a time when lockdown happened, and I don't know whether you had the, all this, necessary content. I know that you must have had the research and you have done your, road walk down. So the content is ready, but the visual part, which is that walkthroughs, the through the streets and all, had to really remain closed. So, you probably could not operate for that 6 weeks, is as you mean. And we also did not know, none of us knew that, how long it will be, because some was saying it has to go on for, has done for 189 days and all sorts of things. So
Yeah.
obviously, you had a time where, you faced this challenge, right? The cash flow, plus you have a team, which I am now familiar with a couple of them. So there was this concerns that, how do I sustain them? And they had their concern. They are not physically with you. So how did you sort of manage that uncertainty, that you will be able to bridge and also keep people motivated? Because, you are in the pinnacle of knowledge industry. Every individual matters because, it's not just, it's not an IT industry
Yeah.
that I'll just fill up the seat, right? This guy is just sitting on some research data. So how did you manage during that time?
Yeah, so as you rightly said, it was a bit uncertain for us because obviously we did not have the walkthrough videos and all of that, and we
Right.
could not go out to take the 360 degree photographs. We didn't even have a 360 camera, which we ordered and which then got stuck as it was arriving. So yeah, that was like those 6 weeks of lockdown was a bit was uncertain. And in terms of cash flow, we had to cancel all our tours in March. So March, our cash flow was zero completely. So in April, what we decided to do is we decided to use the knowledge of our team members, including us, to provide workshops. So we did physical workshops earlier, but we realized that we can use the virtual platform to reach out to more people all over India and all over the world, basically, if the time suits. And we can do these workshops, we can share our knowledge, and that way we can maintain, like, get some cash flow in. And also in terms of keeping the team motivated, like what comes like for Heritage Walk Calcutta or now Immersive Trails, as you can see on my background, uh, empathy is one of the key pillars. So we realized that that the team has to be like they are going through uncertainty as well. So what we did is we gave them 2 months of their salaries in advance.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
so
That's
April
fantastic.
and May salary were given to them in advance, so that in case there is some sort of uncertainty, if they get COVID or something like that, then they can still have some money with them. And which meant that we could not take our salaries. Like Chelsea and I did not take any salary in for those 2 months. And gradually, as the workshops picked up and as the lockdowns eased, then we basically went in full force to start mm, basically the virtual tours. And we also went through a friends and family fundraising round around that time, which is I would say which was a very daring thing to do, because being in a travel industry at this time and going out for fundraising even from friends and family is something that um, that is like, I mean, that people showed their trust on us. So that's how the idea of actually creating that new virtual platform, which we'll be talking about, I'm sure, in this conversation, came up and all of that. So after the first 42, 48 days of lockdown, we knew what we wanted to do. We had everything planned and we went through. And the first 48 days of uncertainty, we took care of our team members. We took care of our cash flow by doing workshops, because that's something that we can share with people. And yeah, that's all.
Oh, yeah, this paying advance is absolutely amazing because I know people, some people have given the salary, but giving advance, when you really don't know what will happen, and even the largest of the largest companies sort of second month reduce significant amount. Now, Tathagato, I'll come and obviously understand your platform, the roadmap and all, and the social impact of this is humongous. Let me tell you, I would not have been able to join so many, physical walks for various reasons, including travel or time, and so many people who just can't physically be available, right? People who are older, infirm. But I feel that I may be wrong here, but I think after you sort of stabilize this platform and you found that in spite of your all that problems with alliance and all that, this works. I feel that you are also giving some opportunity to other members of the travel industry who may not be having a similar platform, but can be complementary to you, right? This is also
Yeah.
a okay. So that is fantastic because I think that there are people who can't just have all the resources or the mindset, but they are absolutely sitting there. So in a way, you are also helping. So are you also thinking of, now that you are sort of become sort of a pioneer on this, I think globally, because I don't see many, I know I see that a lot of this live stream going on in various museums and all that, but this I think is I have not come across, you may be knowing. So are you also thinking of fine tuning the model for industry at large at some point and helping if there is a appetite from the travel and tourism industry? Uh,
Yeah, so that's the plan with, I mean, that's why we rebranded ourselves from Heritage Walk Calcutta to Immersive
mhm.
Trails. Because Heritage Walk Calcutta, we realized, is very Calcutta specific, and we want to actually go out at large, go out in the world, and actually help travel companies or travel small social enterprises who do these kind of unique, curate these unique experiences, but cannot do that at this point. Or even if they resume in the future, after travel resumes, they can be still onboarded on our platform, and they can offer these experiences either live or recorded, so that people know about them. Because many of those, like, we have already started making a list, and we are finding these unique experiences in deep in Central Africa. We are finding experiences in the uh, Inuit, among the Inuit community in Canada, and we are finding experiences among the indigenous community in Australia and all of that. So they don't have that kind of reach. So we want to provide our platform for these unique experiences, not just in India but also world over, so that they can use this platform, uh, which we are building now, where they can put up their tools as recorded tools. We will help them, we will train them on how to do that. Basically, it will be an empowering thing. And by that, they are going to then get people who interested then, and when people can travel, they can go there physically and experience those things physically. Because as you have probably, you must have seen in our virtual tours, a virtual tour is very different than a physical tour. So you,
Absolutely.
something that you see virtually, you still want to go back there physically and experience it yourself, because you have those, all the other dimensions that cannot come in a
Right,
virtual tour.
right,
So
right.
that's the idea. And any travel like provider who has our similar sort of ethical principles and research focus, um, in India, who wants to be a part of our platform, we will be reaching out to them, and we'll see if they can come on our platform and we can help each other. I mean, that's the idea overall.
Amazing. I think people can have their own micro stories because I see that you are having these workshops of, going back on the family tree. Now, if they can have, and if somebody has some physical, there are so many families which are quite distributed. They want to go back to the roots, and there may be few hundred people across the world. The family can build one trail for themselves, right? So there is
Yeah.
immense possibility, and of course, it is also clearing a lot of, the misconceptions about the history, because it is so research based. Because most of the time, history is hijacked, right? In some hijack is not in the negative sense because of ignorance. Now, I'll just come back to your, the heritage work, or as you call immersive. Now we'll no more use this heritage of Calcutta. That is now immersive trails, right? From today.
Trails. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
immersive trails, if you can just give a view of, for some of the people, I will of course put some photo and screenshot based on what is available uh, at present, and the plans which you partially covered, including, the sort of, when you say immersive, or some sort of AR VR applications, whether at the client end also it will be, or only at your end. And what's your thought when all this is behind us? Are you looking at a sort of a composite or hybrid model, that physical and digital will go together? There are a lot of possibilities. So just want to hear from you. What are your thoughts at this point?
Yeah. So, I mean, to start with, what we are doing now, and what we have been doing since 2017 when we started, was that we like to say that we convert academic research into immersive experiences. Now, the immersive part comes because we realize that academic research or actual historical research is often boring because the way it is presented to people. And if you read an academic paper, and if you're not a historian or an archaeologist or someone related to the field, you will not probably be interested because the jargons and the language they're used in, written in. So our idea was to always create, like, remove those academic jargons and create an experience where we can take people to different places and tell their stories based on very thick research, but in a relatable way. So that's why we use a lot of archival material. I mean, whatever you see in the walk is probably just 5% of what we have researched. So that, and when we pivoted to a virtual platform, it actually became easier for us to show you archival materials, because on the walk, imagine that we have 15 people in a walk, and I have a folder to show, and 15 people are looking at the same folder. But on the virtual platform, we realize that it's one-to-one for you. For me, it may be 1 to 50 people. I'm talking to 50 people, but you as a viewer, you're looking at that. You're getting that perspective for yourself directly. You can look at those archival documents, old pictures. You can match the old map with the new map by yourself. And also you can view the 360 photos that we share by yourself. You don't have to share that with anyone else. So that is what we are going to take forward in as immersive trails, and create, like, our virtual platform is in the preparation now. We will be launching it by end of November or early December, where all of these walks that we do, and also our partners from all over the world, will put up their walks, recorded versions of their walks, where they will be where you can rent it for a period of 48 hours or a little longer if you pay a little more, and then you can experience it at your own time. Also, the platform will have AR VR capability. So if you have
Okay.
if you have say a Gear VR, for example, a
Oculus or
VR
something,
headset
yeah,
or
headset,
something,
yeah.
yeah, some sort of headset,
Mm.
then it will have a section of 360 videos and 360 photos, which you can just put your headset on,
Mm.
or even if you don't have a headset, you can look at your computer, and it will be immersive that way. You can hear the sounds, you can hear the narration, but that will be different from doing virtual work like we do now on the Zoom platform, basically. So that, and in the future, we also plan to probably enter into self-guided tour territory, but that we need to decide. So
Good.
self-guided tour
Self-guide.
means,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, so you can go to a place and use our platform to basically go around
Okay.
the
Okay.
place by
Okay.
yourself. So that's when travel
It's
travel
like that
begins,
you
because
get in some museum that audio, you just go on pressing based on, I mean, you go to exhibit one
yeah,
and press and
it's
you hear
it's
the back like that.
yes, but it will also be app based. But with details, I'm not
Okay, okay.
divulging
But
now.
something on
It's under
that,
the,
so you can,
yeah, some,
okay, something
and
similar.
if you have
Okay.
a something similar, yeah,
Hmm.
and also if you have a AR headset, then you can put that on as well.
Okay,
But
okay,
then why would
okay.
you want to do that when you are going to a
Right,
site
and
physically?
yeah,
That's the
when
thing.
you are in physically there, but
Yeah,
certain times you see like if you go to Jagannath temple, you can't really see a 3D. In fact, you can't even have a view. People are pushing you,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's not as physical means that it's really physical
yeah,
many places.
yeah, yeah.
So
Um,
I really have one question from my personal interest. Is that there is this whole you are obviously having the archaeology background. Your Chelsea's MA in social science, I think, right? She's
Anthropology.
anthropology, and of course I know um, you know you have this architect in your
Anmol and
Anmol, right? So there are
yeah.
few others, but you are also in a large way you are dealing with history, right? A lot of
Mhm.
it is history. And Indian history has become very controversial, and they say that there is this Jadunath Sarkar, and which was fact-based history, and then post-independence we have become a very a sort of a narrative-based history, right? The people,
Yeah.
it's both sides, the controversy. So I guess you are, if I my rudimentary understanding is that you are essentially going into that fact-based history rather than narrative-based, right? So for everything
Yeah.
you are giving the origin, and at times you are also giving multiple versions and not necessarily saying that I think, right? This is the model
Yeah.
which you
So
follow.
basically, what we wanted to do and what we wanted to do from the very beginning is that we didn't want to take any sides, because
Hmm.
as archaeologists, as people in anthropology, and as historians, we realize that history can be interpreted differently by different people,
Different people, yeah.
because it's something that has happened in the past, and even a person writing about that event in the past is writing from her or his own perspective, right?
Right.
So I mean, so that's why what we want to do is we want to give the facts that we have, give different versions of the fact that we have, and just let people choose based on the documents that we share or the readings that we share, because we don't want to impose a certain version of history, because then we also are taking sides, which is I mean, if for example, if someone comes up with a crazy idea about um, it might be politically incorrect to say, but Taj Mahal and the Tejo Mahalaya debate and all of
Yeah.
that.
Mm.
So what we will do then is to show all the evidence and then let the person choose,
Let
because you
the
cannot
person, yeah.
impose your ideas. I mean,
Right.
that is not uh, not proactive.
Right. Right. Absolutely. And I think you are also, I am, uh, I mean, you are doing it obviously consciously, but I can sense that you are also through these works making people aware as to how to look at documents, where the documents are available, how to refer, how to cross verify, how to make sense, which is deductive capability of history, which is very important, right? uh, so
Mhm.
I sort of came to all my end of all my questions, but I just have one last question, which we asked, that when you went through this this COVID times, which is very difficult for everybody in multiple ways, and but we have seen extraordinarily extraordinary generosity, extraordinary humanity, extraordinary courage, where I have come across one person saying that I need food tomorrow, and next day when food reached, he said I don't need because I have got my food, give it to somebody. This sort of unprecedented dimensions we have seen. So do you recollect anything in these 2 months, or sorry, 5 months, which may be personal, which may be professional, social, which sort of you know made you uh, you know pleasantly surprised, if I may say? Do you recollect any anecdote, anything?
Yeah, I mean, whenever we went out in like after the lockdowns were over, and we were a bit skeptical about whether people in different paras that we're going, different neighborhoods that
Mm-hmm.
we're going, will really accept us going there, even though they know us. And they have always been like very, like extremely helpful even after this.
Right.
Uh, and we and then they have been like, whenever we needed water, they had given us water, and even food. Like, water doesn't come by itself. So it's one thing that I will one incident that I'll tell you. Last couple of weeks back, we went to Bolpur, Shantiniketan.
Bolpur,
That's our
huh? Yeah, I saw that photo.
first
Yeah.
trip outside Calcutta for a long
Calcutta.
time. And so the village that we were going was Hatshirandi, which is where we are doing the Durga Puja walk. And we went to the one of the houses which has these Durga Puja, the potted Durga. And they prepared, like, they had this whole meal prepared for us and all of that, and they invited us in. And they, like, we had this idea that, like, and because of the media, we had this idea that in the villages people are terrified about people from Calcutta and all of that. But a guest still remains a guest, and that is something that was very touching, and that has been something that we have seen throughout, right after the lockdown was over, that a guest still remains a guest, in at least in Bengal. And I don't know about rest of India, because we could not travel, but at
Mm.
least in Bengal, it's still there, that fellow feeling, that, and that's something that we are grateful about, really. Yeah.
I think, in every way, India, means I have been speaking to so many, and I was in a way in Bangalore. So another view, my wife is from Guwahati. I think that there had been tremendous support. Without that, our death toll would have been in thousands, just from the migrants' perspective. So there is no doubt that people have stretched extraordinarily. And your point, in fact, the last walk, the train walk, I was seeing that, camera is moving and people are in their morning brushing teeth and telling that, you have to look good. Camera is there, So I was like,
Yeah.
I always felt that if you take a camera, people will be very, very, concerned. But, I saw such friendly mindset, which is good. The ultimately the core humanity has been displayed. And I think if we can take it forward from here, post
Yeah.
COVID, that will be a great positive takeaway.
Yeah.
So, Tathavar, I'm done. But if you want to, up to you. I will request you to talk a little bit about your trails coming up, especially Durga Puja, because I tell you why. Because I feel people who are not joining our trails are actually missing something. Okay. So that's why you will also
Thank you.
see sometimes I will go ahead and write over and above my normal participation, because I feel that this is something they should be part of it. So would you like to talk a little bit about the
Thank
upcoming,
you. Sure.
some of them?
Sure. So basically, we have Durga Puja trails coming up, and these are on Panchami, Shoshti. So if I look at the calendar, it's on from 21st, 22nd, 24th, 25th, and 26th October. So we'll be, and these are all virtual trails. So we'll be taking you virtually to this village of Hatcherandi, which is a very small hamlet, very close to Shantiniketan, where they have this unique tradition of potted Durga. So they paint the Durga as Pottochitro, and they have been
Okay.
doing this for generations. So we'll be going through the tradition, and we'll be viewing. We have pre-recorded videos from last year, so we'll be viewing those and all of that, just to give you an immersive experience of what how the village looks like, and how the Durga Puja, this old traditional Durga Puja, looks like, because it's a dying tradition. Because the skill of painting those are actually going away. So the last generation of painters are still there now, and they're above 70 years old. So after, and their sons have all taken jobs in the cities, because obviously that's more lucrative. So yeah, I mean, that's why we want to show this to the people of the world, that we have this tradition now, and it's important to see. So that, and we have two collaborative tours, one with Uncomfortable Oxford, which is a Oxford University history student-run group, which does similar kind of tours as we do in Calcutta. And so we'll be talking about Calcutta Oxford connections. And the first tour in this series is on 10th of October, and the bookings for this will open tomorrow. And then we have another one in collaboration with Rongon Dotto, who is a very established travel blogger and history blogger. So he is leading a tour trail outside Calcutta in Baj and Achipur, so about 40 kilometers south of Calcutta, and the history of Hooghly River related arrivals. So this is on the 17th of October, and the bookings are already open. So if you go on on our Facebook page, then you'll find the details about that. So thank you.
Tathagata, thank you. It's a pleasure talking to you. As I said, I'm a little, people now abuse this term, but I am a fanboy of your organization. So
Thank you.
maybe a little bit going overboard in talking about immersive trails, but I just want to thank you. From this two things. One is, of course, you continued your pursuit and kept people engaged and enriched their lives during the lockdown, because end of the day, when we lose time, we lose a part of our life, right? So you could use it, and definitely the extraordinary step of not just protecting the jobs or the salary, but giving them proactively the compensation, so that they feel comfortable and there is a protection for any eventuality coming in, which I'm sure is an extremely difficult decision for a small organization, relatively small organization, when largest of organizations have just taken the easy way out, right? So thank you so much. Wish you all
Thank you
the
very
very
much.
best.
Thank you.
And whoever is hearing, I will just say, make some time, join these immersive trails. If you are not, you are really losing something. So
Thank you.
take care,
Thank you
stay
very
safe.
much.
Thank you.
You too.
Till we
You too.
meet again.
Thank you. Yeah.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye. Good night.
I close the meeting now.
Yeah.